We're rolling down Market Street. Welcome to San Francisco on December 27th. It is Brock Purdy's birthday. So that means that we've got a contract update because when a player hits his 25th birthday, we can look to see what they've done prior to their 25th birthday, and we can judge against league history. And all of this is relevant as the 49ers and Brock Purdy formally began to prepare negotiations. He can sign this contract extension as soon as the regular season ends. That is when Purdy first becomes eligible for this extension. So, first, say hi to Casper. Casper's doing the driving today. We're waiting right now on Market Street, right on the red light, so I'll alert you guys when we get rolling. But second, let's introduce you to this statistic. Yards per attempt. So this is the amount of yards gained per pass attempt for all NFL quarterbacks throughout all of history before their 25th birthdays. Number 5, Dan Marino, 8 yards per attempt. Number 4, Deshaun Watson, who was so good early in his career, not so good now, 8.1 yards per attempt. Number 3, Ben Roethlisberger, 8.3 yards per attempt. Number 2, the second most yards per attempt in NFL history before the age of 25, Patrick Mahomes, not to be confused with Casper, who's doing a great job right now. Patrick Mahomes, 8.5 yards per attempt. So as we now get ready to roll through Hayes Valley, we can introduce our NFL leader. This is the leader throughout all of history in yards per attempt under the age of 25. Brock Purdy, 8.5. So Purdy, 8.5. Mahomes, or 8.8. Purdy's 8.8. I sold him short. Purdy is 8.8 yards per attempt. Mahomes, 8.5. Ben Roethlisberger, 8.3. Deshaun Watson, 8.1. And Dan Marino, who is the favorite player of Purdy's dad, Sean Purdy. Why Purdy wears number 13 is number 5 in NFL history at 8.0. Is yards per an attempt a complicated stat? No, it's not. It's a rather rudimentary stat, but it's a whole lot better than raw passing yardage because it's actually something that's going to take into account the amount of attempts, and it is a cursory look at efficiency. You have to play well to have a high YPA. I mean, it's simple, especially over a long period of time. Over one game or a shorter sample size, it could be that one of your receivers just racked up a ridiculous amount of yardage after a missed tackle, and they were doing all the work for you. But over a larger sample, once you start to get up to full season plus, yards per attempt is a good indicator of quarterback efficiency. Now, it doesn't take into account sacks. It obviously doesn't take into account interceptions, so it's not a complete list of quarterback efficiency, but it is a good start. And we can get into the more complicated stats like EPA, where Brock Purdy has also been at the top of the league. But first, we're going to take a look at San Francisco City Hall. There you go. It's not dark yet outside, so we don't have it lit up, but I think it's a very pretty building as we roll up Franklin Street here toward the Dolphin Club. Purdy, since joining the league in 2022, actually leads in expected points added per play. Patrick Mahomes has been number 2. So that means that Purdy, even when we do consider interceptions, sacks, touchdown passes, he's been the most efficient quarterback in the league. Now, the majority of the production there has come in the 2023 season. Obviously, he hasn't been as efficient in 2024, but that shouldn't be mistaken with he hasn't been as good in 2024, because this is a team sport. You are so reliant as any player in the NFL on what your teammates are doing around you for your final production line. So a quarterback will often be dependent on his offensive line for the blocking that the offensive line does, but sometimes the offensive line is dependent on the quarterback. He's got to get rid of the football on the first hitch, so the offensive line doesn't have to protect for longer than is designed. So when we look at how the 49ers are constructed as a football team, we can say that every single football team is built in the same kind of complementary way. Some teams play better complementary football than others, but at the core, football is a sport where each position depends on the other position. So when things are going wrong for a football team, typically they start going worse for individual players. And I think we've definitely seen that from Brock Purdy this season. He's going to have the ultimate test here over the final 2 games of this regular season behind a beleaguered offensive line. In case you missed the update a little bit earlier, Colton McKivitz didn't practice today with an ankle issue. That means the 49ers might be down 3 starting offensive linemen, left tackle, left guard, and right tackle, and down to potentially their 4th string left tackle. The left tackle protects Brock Purdy's blind side. Although the offensive line coach, Chris Furster, pointed out that he was once in Tampa Bay and they delivered one of their best games. They hadn't beaten the Packers in several tries, and they finally beat the Packers when their entire offensive line was hurt. And his point was that they overcame that by delivering at the other positions. Receivers got open. Because receivers were open, quarterback was able to deliver on time. Because the quarterback was able to deliver on time, less was needed from the offensive line. Because less was needed from the offensive line, the offense was able, the protection was able to hold up, and the offense was able to succeed. So, especially against a beleaguered defense like the Detroit Lions, the 49ers do have a chance to move the ball on Monday night, but it's certainly going to be a steep uphill challenge, more so than usual for Brock Purdy with all these offensive linemen out. By the way, hey, I'm going through the best sandwiches in San Francisco. Look at that place, Limoncello. Did you guys see that place? That's going to be on the list. So Lombardi herself is flying right now. We got her a first-class ticket. She's coming in from Nashville. She's sitting up in the front of the plane. I told her to order the Peruvian chicken, but I think she went with the cheese plate instead. Lombardi herself is going to be in town over the course of the next several days. 49er season's wrapping up. We've got this long mega list of the best sandwiches in San Francisco. We're going to make a cool video. If you're wanting this list, I think a lot of you have wanted it, or if you're going to be interested in this, give me a thumbs up. We're going to have the best spots. It's going to be the definitive sandwich guide to close this season. I know I've hit up so many spots over the course of this 2024 campaign, and Limoncello is going to be one of them that makes this final video. That was just a little sneak preview for you. Anyway, my overarching point was that Purdy had a good 2024 of individual play. However, it did not match his 2023 of efficiency because the 49ers did not have a good year as a team. And this is a team sport. They're going to have to get back on the horse, build around Brock Purdy, because end of the day, they are going to, this is their franchise quarterback. This is, you look at numbers like the ones that I've given you, they take bias out of the equation. They allow those of us who want to be objective about this to be objective about this, because we're not zeroing in on one play here, one play there, one game here, one game there. We're looking at the full breadth of data. We're looking at the efficiency within the context of the team sport as it stands. And when Purdy's been literally the highest, the top of the list in yards per attempt since he's joined the league, and the highest in NFL history under the age of 25, when Brock Purdy has put up numbers like that, and you combine them with the EPA tape and the anticipation and the escapability, the 10-yard split, we like to talk about all that, it's a no-brainer. The 49ers obviously are centering their franchise around this quarterback. The question then becomes how they structure the contract. And when we have data like we do, it's obvious it's going to be a contract near the very top of the market. The APY, which is the average per year, that's what everybody's going to be obsessed about. They're already obsessing about it. Doesn't actually really matter, right? Whether it be 50 million, 60 million, 65 million, hell, even 45 million average per year. Here's the right turn. Go Casper. We're making it up Russian Hill now. A little bit of sunshine in San Francisco. That's good as we head to the Dolphin Club. But the APY is just something that is written in simple terms so that people can pretend or feel like they understand a much more complicated situation. What's really going to matter for the 49ers is contract structure. How they divvy up the signing bonus and the guaranteed option bonuses, which all will prorate just like the signing bonus, so they can push the salary cap hit further into the future. The idea that a team cannot build a strong roster around a big money quarterback is a myth. The Detroit Lions have done it. They're coming into Levi Stadium on Monday night. The Kansas City Chiefs have done it. They're 14-1. Patrick Mahomes is making a lot of money. The Buffalo Bills have done it. I think they're the best team in football. The Philadelphia Eagles have done it. They might be the best team in the NFC, and they paid Jalen Hurts a lot of money. It's not about, there's no correlation between APY of a quarterback, average per year, and an inability to pay the rest of a strong roster. The correlation lies in how you structure the contract. That's why we say that structure is everything. Here we go, up the hill, Russian Hill. I think we're going to be turning left on Hyde. That's going to be exciting. So the 49ers have already decided they're going to pay Brock Purdy. Those of you who are arguing about this in circles, A, you're making yourself sound stupid because he leads the NFL in yards per attempt since he joined the league. Leads in a lot of stats since he joined the league. So stop acting stupid. Accept the truth. The 49ers are going to pay Brock Purdy. And then two, those of you who are using APY to talk about this, also, I think you're sounding clueless because that's not what is going to determine whether or not this is a good contract. It's all going to come down to structure. And if the 49ers can find a good structure that backloads the deal, they'll be able to keep the core of their A-listers together. And then the test for them over the course of this offseason, as we move down the cable car tracks with a cable car coming up over the hill, the test will be how do they build out a team of finishers from the margins all the way up to the A-list spots that can avoid some of the problems that they faced here in the 2024 season. John Lynch came on the radio today and talked about the biggest problem for the 49ers being their inability to finish this season. So they've got to find a way to finish these games better. They've already demonstrated the efficiency. Cable car full of people. Look at all those tourists having a good time. They're here for Christmas and New Year's, I guess. They've already demonstrated enough efficiency to build leads this year, to generate yardage this year. They lead the NFL in explosive play rate on offense, but they're not doing well in the red zone. A lot of that goes back to the offensive line. It goes back to the lack of an efficient run game. That also goes back to the offensive line. And Brock Purdy has actually been dealing with the least average separation of any quarterback. This is receiver separation, distance from defender, of any QB this year at the time of completion or pass attempt, which is a tough card to be dealt. Yet he's still remained in the top 10 of QBR. So it's about building around Purdy. It's about fixing the issues that I just outlined. And then it will be about trying to get by Lombard Street for me. Look, we got all the tourists here. A lot of them will be taking pictures of this car as it drives by. And hopefully nobody's going to try to cross in front of us. I'm about to start swimming in that water ahead of us. And there's people on the crosswalk. They're allowed to do that, so we'll allow it. See, you can trust the car. And you could also trust the view. There it is, Coit Tower, North Beach, San Francisco. Here we go. Starting the long descent into the aquatic park. So if you have any questions, let me know. But I kind of wanted to use this opportunity, Brock Purdy's 25th birthday, to zoom out, give you the contract update as we brace ourselves for the actual negotiations. There's the Golden Gate Bridge on a cloudy/hazy day in San Francisco. There's Alcatraz. And I don't see a single cable car in front of us, which means that we might not get stuck in the same spot that we always get stuck in one of these driverless cars. All right, couple more minutes. I'm ready to answer some of your questions and move on from there. By the way, my shirt says Deli Board today in saloon font. It's not a 49er shirt, it's a Deli Board shirt, although I think the saloon font taken from the 49ers logo. Speaking of the sandwich tour, I'll be heading around the city tomorrow and Sunday, and Deli Board is going to be on the list. Shout out to Adam and Deli Board. I think those are some of the most gourmet sandwiches in the world. They're definitely making the San Francisco sandwich video. So give me a sandwich emoji or a thumbs up if you're excited for this. You know, with the 49ers out of playoff contention, we got to go harder on supporting the local businesses. Greg Smith asks, is there any update on Dre Greenlaw? They're shutting him down for this season. Would I take a tackle or a defensive end in the draft with the first pick? That's another question. I would take the best player available with the first pick. The draft is a crapshoot. You don't know who's going to translate to the NFL, who isn't, so you might as well maximize your chances. So pick the player who you think is the best. Kevin, I did not ignore your question. I'm sitting in a car. One question at a time pops up on my screen and disappears within 2 seconds. If you think that you're more important than everybody else and that somehow I should see your question over the 67 others, you're fooling yourself. So I saw that you're complaining that I ignored your question, but I just didn't see it. And trust me, I don't care that I didn't see it because it probably wasn't a good question. So somebody sent some better questions than Kevin. And if I see it, then I'll answer it. I've only got 2 blocks left, so you guys better hurry. And there's no cable car blocking us. This is the usual cable car block right here where we can't get around it. So there just doesn't happen to be a cable car in front of us this time. But there are a lot of tourists. Man. San Francisco's empty in the Mission, but it's full down here at Fisherman's Wharf. Pharrell wants us to go to the Buena Vista, which is on the list. That is the home of Irish coffee right there. It's blocked by the stoplight, but we will be headed to the Buena Vista. Not today. I think we're going to go on New Year's Day. I'm really excited for that. We got a fan here. You want to go live? You're on live.
Oh, I am? Hey, yeah. Listen to you all the time, man. Only guy listen.
Take care. What's your name?
Chris.
Take care, Chris. So somebody saw me in the car. That was cool. That's the first time that's ever happened on YouTube Live. That was a lot of fun. So shout out to Chris. Hopefully he can watch this later. And I'm pulling into the Dolphin Club. I just feel that we have so many tourists out here today that my chance of getting recognized was much higher than normal, and it worked. I'm going to stay online here so you guys can answer a few more. Since there's so many people out, it's a festive atmosphere right around the New Year's. So that guy came up to say what's up, and he ended up being on the live. I had to think on my toes there. I'm like, oh, I just heard my name. I didn't see the questions that poured in over the last minute because of everything going on, so maybe one more. It's a beautiful evening, by the way. I was afraid the weather wouldn't be what we needed it to be, but it does look like it's solid here. Here's the Dolphin Club. This is where I swim out of in the bay. Established in 1877. I think they're going to let me out at the very end, which means that you're going to have a nice view of the Golden Gate Bridge. Somebody asked, why would tourists recognize you? Well, you're literally watching a video where a tourist recognized me. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why they'd recognize me, but they do. Please make sure it's clear before exiting. Karen says, Brock is getting paid. It's the market. Happy birthday to him today. Yep, it is Brock Purdy's 25th birthday. Unfortunately, we could barely see the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'm probably going to have to get out of the car. There's a lot of people around here. All right, guys, time for me to swim in the San Francisco Bay. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll talk to you soon.